everyone. Thank you so much for joining our session today. I would like to welcome you to our Maximizing Your WBENC certification session today. Um, and today, I want to say for those who might be fairly new WBEs, we'd like to say welcome and congratulations for those who may be new WBEs. Julie, I saw you yesterday too. Goodness gracious, it's a party.
It's I'm
And
getting on every webinar I can.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And for those of you who may have been certified with us for a while, I'm glad that you are here and have this opportunity now to learn more about how to fully maximize all that you have in your certification. My name is Dr. Kitiana Lowe. I go by Dr. K, and I'm the Director of Programs and Events here at WBEC ORV. And I'd like to take a quick moment and introduce the rest of our team so that way if you happen to see them out and about in the community, you'll be able to put a name with a face. Our president and CEO is Dr. Frederica Singletary. Our fractional CFRO is Jackie Jordan. Our fractional CHRO is LaCosta Moore. Our senior director of marketing, communications, and engagement is Courtney Martin. And then you all should be very familiar with our certification team, led by our Director of Certification and Outreach, Colleen Rudisil, our Certification Manager, Robbie Moore, and then I'll jump all the way down here to the end. We have a Certification Specialist, Anita Steele. And then on our corporate engagement side, we have our Corporate Engagement Manager, Devin Davis, and the one who keeps us all together, our Administrative Assistant, Morgan McDonald. So we are a mighty team that work diligently to help do everything that you all need in terms of certification and programs and events. I want to introduce our facilitator for today, who is Gabby Christman. She's the president and CEO of Hunter Recruiting, and she'll take a quick moment and introduce herself, and then I would like for you all to introduce yourselves as well. Gabby?
Terrific. Thank you, Dr. K. Good morning or mid-morning to everyone. It's exciting to be with you here today, whether you're just starting your journey as a Weebie or have long been a Weebie. So I started Hunter Recruiting in 2006, so we'll celebrate 20 years in business this May. And I became certified in 2008. So has really been quite a journey for the company and for my certification and how I've utilized that certification. So I'm excited to kind of share my journey and some of the best practices with your certification with you this morning. And that would be wonderful, Dr. K, if everyone could introduce themselves and their company, maybe where your headquarters is at and when you were certified.
Sure. I'm going to go in order on my screen. So Dipti, you are first.
So I have, this is my second year, and I've tried to attend every WBEC webinar, and sometimes I've also met and also went to the main summit also. But I'm still trying to get myself familiarized of how do I use my certification, what all opportunities I can explore to make it work. So even this is second year, I'm still not lost, but I'm still trying to find those avenues where I can really get something for the company.
That makes sense. And Dipti,
Yeah.
what's your business or what type of business are you in?
So I'm into home decor. So we supply, the company has been, my company has been in business since 2000. And we have a warehouse where we stock, like we import all the home textiles, and we supply to the stores all over the country, including the Caribbean and Canada also. So I just thought that maybe I can get more opportunities by joining the WBEC. And I've taken all the certification, and I'm still trying to build my network and connect with people. But I'm sure there's so much more that I may have not explored or done. And that's why I'm joining this webinar, to get some insight from you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. And Julie, you are next.
Hi, I'm Julie Haar. I'm with Proforma Strategic Promotions. Also celebrating 20 years this year, this October, super exciting. And we just got certified last month. So looking forward to the opportunities that will open up for us. We really want to go after some set-asides, diversity set-asides, and we work with a lot of large software distributors. So hoping that we can expand into those relationships, having this certification. And also just really want to take in what else is out there. We have been approached since we've been newly certified by consultants who want to sell us their services to try to help us like more quickly manifest things. And I'm curious to know, maybe at the end during Q&A, if anyone has ever done that with anybody.
Wonderful. Welcome. And Jenna.
Hi, good morning. My name is Gina Finley. I own Clinical Solutions. We're in Canton, Ohio. We have been in business since 2016, so we're coming up on our 10-year anniversary in October. Thank you. So my company provides surgical instrument repair and maintenance for hospitals. So we have on-site vans that go to our accounts and do all the sharpening, repair, and preventive maintenance for surgical sets for hospitals in Ohio, West Virginia, Western Pennsylvania, and we have some accounts scattered around the United States. So my certification journey, we have been certified on and off since 2020. We originally sought certification because we wanted to do government work with some VA hospitals. And the first year we got certified in 2021, we were able to achieve that. So I was really happy about that. But as the ups and downs of business tend to go, I let my certification lapse, and then I've come back 2 different times. I will say that we just got recertified in December, and this is the first year I have made an intentional decision that I'm going to make the most of and learn more about what I can actually do with this certification besides government accounts. I know there are opportunities with corporate diversity, supplier diversity that I want to explore for our company. And we are on a growth trajectory right now. So I feel like all of these things that we're learning are really coming in clutch right now and helping me to fill in some gaps that I didn't have in the past. So super excited to be here and learn about everything that's going to be discussed this morning.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. So we will dive in and kind of walk through. I think Dr. Kate, you'll share the slides. We'll walk through a brief overview of what we'll touch on today. I'm sure there'll be questions along the way. Feel free to pin those in chat if you just want to jot them down while you have them. We're going to save time for questions at the end. So because we're a smaller group, we can have a great conversation based around questions and specifics, understanding kind of what everyone on the call today is trying to accomplish to make sure they're maximizing their certification. So just an overview of our agenda here. We'll go through some foundational knowledge, really what is the baseline for just understanding the nomenclature and the nuances of your WBENC cert and how WBENC works. And then how can you kind of take that and shift to maximizing your certification? And a lot of different avenues to do that. My strategy is crawl, walk, run. And so we'll get to some of that later on in the second half of the presentation. And hopefully you guys have some actionable items that you can take back to your business today to utilize your cert. So we'll dive into our foundational knowledge. I think first, there's a lot of acronyms in WBENC, and WBENC itself is an acronym, and then we have WBENC ORV. ORV is our RPO. So we have yet 3 acronyms, and we're only on slide 1. But RPO stands for Regional Partner Organization. You'll hear the phrase RPOs thrown around a lot within WBENC. This is just basically the geography you fall into. So Ohio River Valley, you can see us on the map here nicely. We are Ohio, Kentucky, and West Virginia. Now, there are open borders to other RPOs. So for instance, Hunter is headquartered in Cleveland, but we do business in 29 states in the US. And so we did register for the newsletters and the other RPOs. You have to intentionally go to their website and register to stay kind of in the know to what's happening in those RPOs. But I would strongly encourage you, if you're looking at doing business in another region, or if you currently are doing business in another region, to go out to the individual RPO website and register to stay in touch or on their newsletter about happenings in their area, because it usually follows the home of the corporate. So if you have a corporate target that maybe has a presence in the state you're in, but is headquartered in Michigan, you're going to want to register with the Great Lakes, WBC, so that you can get more information. Maybe that corporate is going to be speaking or hosting, what you need to know about doing business with Ford, and you would want to be present for that. So that's a great tip with kind of working within the RPOs. I will say we should be really proud that we're part of WeBank ORV. WeBank ORV is very well known as a standout RPO because of the engagement and because of our exceptional executive team that Dr. K is obviously a huge part of. They just do an exceptional job of really moving in one with the Weebies in our region. We have a very engaged region, so we should be really grateful for that. On top of our engaged region, we also have 70 corporate members, which really is outstanding compared to other regions. We have very engaged corporates that through the years and working with WeBank and with your certification, you're going to get to know those corporates really well on a first name basis. And we're going to walk through in the later half of the presentation about how they're really your conduit and your advocate for doing business within some of those organizations. So how does WeBank across all 14 RPOs and with all these different types of women business owners who have different industries represented really deliver programming and information that matters to us when all of us are approaching this from a different kind of angle and journey within our business? Really, that's through their core platform, and core stands for certification, opportunities, resources, and engagement. And so we're going to walk through kind of how WeBank addresses each of those pillars to deliver services to us through our certification. First, everyone kind of touched on their intro, why a WeBank certification for their business, or why did they get recertified, and also kind of this understanding of how it could open doors for us. So just to go through really, what does WeBank nationally in DC consider as the value proposition for our certification? We know that WeBank is the gold standard certification. A little bit to touch on in that mandate, of course, the federal mandate for procurement, 5% of goods and services for women and minority businesses. We know that that looks different on different contracts. We know that different organizations are held accountably different for those, but that still does exist at the federal level. Corporations setting up their own internal supplier diversity programs in response to that mandate and as a response to just doing good for their communities. Now the data is very clear on what diversity does to inform decisions and innovate. And I think that corporations have really seen the data long enough now to understand that that extends to their supplier base as well. And then the business model has just evolved. As corporations are looking at who makes purchasing decisions, you see them talk more and more about this. Our automotive partners at a corporate level speak to this quite often about, a woman is making a decision at the end of the day, what kind of car the family is purchasing. And so how important it is for them to be representative of their supply chain as who their customer base is. And so sometimes when I'm talking to a corporate about that and the representation in their supply chain of who their customer is, that language can really resonate if you can weave it into your sales pitch or your capabilities to our corporate partners. So what is the supplier diversity advantage? As a Weebie, as a woman-owned business, you have supplier diversity professionals that their role is to help you stand out and help you fight through the noise. So really, how do they advocate for us and how we can build and leverage those relationships to understand how to utilize those best? I think, in this slide, we touch on that corporations can make exceptions for a certified Weebie. They can create opportunities. They can carve off contracts for you. They can offer mentor protege programs, which I'm a huge advocate of participating in as many of those as you can try to participate in. And they can establish different vendor financing mechanisms. I'll say all of this with a grain of salt. Like, they will open the door and they will vet you out. But you better be ready for them to vet you out and ask you some questions about your capabilities, because they have to then in turn go and not stick their neck out for you, but go and advocate for you internally to decision makers in your category. And they want to be sure that you can win the business at the end of the day, because not only will you give them a stronger message for what they do internally in their organization, but you're also going to help them open the doors for other Weebies that are going to come after you that you will probably never meet, just by being exactly who you presented yourself to be, by being capable to do business with the organization. And so all those things are factors in their decision-making process. And I really want everyone here to understand how you can leverage that relationship, not just to open a door, but to get you a seat at the table with your category leader or the buyer in your category, because ultimately that's what the supplier diversity professional should unlock for you, getting you a meeting within your category. So what does that role really look like? And we talked about, of course, supplier diversity is going to have a way to organize what diverse suppliers are registered with them. And they want to have these registries. So if a contracts manager or buyer walks into their office and says, I need a Weeby that repairs instruments for surgery, they can, pull that up and they can come out with your name and say, here you go, here's a list. And even better if they met you at the last conference, right? Because that'll be top of mind for them. Now, this can feel like a black hole when you're told by a supplier diversity professional, oh, make sure you're registered with us. They are just putting one more hurdle in front of Weebies and really any business that's trying to do to come into their supplier network. It's just one more thing to see if you're actually going to do it. So I surrender to the process. If I get that email, I'm like, boom, we registered, respond back. Thank you so much. We are registered, looking forward to next steps. What does that look like? So surrender to the process, register in all the things. Everyone may have their own, and keep it updated as you get automated reminders via email. So that's just a best practice. It's just going to put you in table stakes with what other Weebies who have been really successful in navigating their certification know that they have to do at the end of the day, because they are keeping record of obviously their purchasing and their spend that way. They're making recommendations that way, pulling down lists for different buyers in their organizations that way, and they're tracking the activity and the compliance of your cert. So up-to-date certs that way as well. Important note here that they don't make decisions. So your supplier diversity professional will not be the decision maker, but they will lead you to who the decision maker is. So we're going to talk about kind of how to walk through those conversations to make sure that you can get a meeting and really get to what your goal is working with supplier diversity professionals. So now you have your cert and you understand the landscape that we need to navigate. So what really are the benefits of your WBE certification? Those, of course, are access to supplier diversity professionals and procurement executives. You can log on to WBENC Link 2.0 and you can pull down any corporate target and you can get the information, first name, last name, contact email, and contact phone number for any supplier diversity professional. So I will tell you a quick little anecdote here. We're in Cleveland, Eaton Corporation. Some may be familiar with them. They're a huge employer in the Cleveland area and, a global provider of energy solutions. When I got my WBENC cert in 2008, I was like, I'm going to call on Eaton, right? So I started calling their supplier diversity professional. I left a message for her every Tuesday for a year and a half. I was like wishing her a Merry Christmas, like multiple times, celebrating holidays with her voicemail. She never called me back. But one day they emailed me my category leader to add us as a supplier. And so I always called that number and I would continue my relationship with her voicemail to tell her how we were doing and what we were doing in the Eaton program and how great of a job Hunter was doing. So she would know kind of what was happening. Well, one day I called and someone different answered the phone. It was the new supplier diversity person. And, I started, and he's like, you know what? You sound like you have something to say. I'm going to let you finish. And so I went, on to tell him what I would usually have told the voicemail for his predecessor in the role. And we had about an hour and a half conversation. It was a great conversation. It was the start of really the relationship of Hunter and Eaton kind of moving to the next level. And so those numbers and leaving the human voice to those numbers that you get, it really does go a long way. Even if you feel like you're just leaving a voicemail once a week, every week, someone eventually will pick up. So that number usually stays with the person when the person in supplier diversity changes. So a little tidbit there. You'll also get opportunities to be part of matchmakers from corporate and government events. I know that WeBank ORV does a great job. They're so engaged with our regions and what our businesses are. They'll include oftentimes in their newsletter different events that are happening in the state of Ohio, Kentucky, or West Virginia that they think we should know about. They'll also include different mentorship or protege programs that they think we should take a look at. So I can't encourage you enough to really review the full email because there's going to be something that resonates with you. And sometimes it's at the bottom of the email. So really take a minute to read through those emails and see what might be right for your business at this point. As well, of course, all the business tools that are available to you, eligibility for awards at a different level, not only on a regional level at Catch the Wave, we have a great award ceremony to recognize some of the volunteers, some of the participation that different Weavies have. And we also recognize our corporates that are very participative. And that's a great way to see really who are the corporates that don't just talk the talk, but walk the walk. Those will be the ones receiving the awards. And then using the women-owned logo. So you want to be sure that you have this logo in every version. You can download different versions of the logo through WeBank Link 2.0. I think we touch on that in the presentation in a later slide as well. And then we're in this together. I remember I got my certification in 2008. I had two little ones at the time, and I promised myself when my youngest got into kindergarten, I was going to like really get active with my WeBank certification. So she got into kindergarten and I was like, I'm doing it. WeBank, here I come. You know, I've had this cert for like probably 6 years now and haven't really like met this network of women. And I found out I was pregnant with my third and I was like, no, I committed when the second went to kindergarten. I'm not changing my mind. I made this like date that I was going to go all in. So I stayed all in. I'm so grateful I did because I think what the biggest benefit has been for me is the network of other women that I met through WeBank. Some of my closest friends, some of really my first phone calls when I'm driving home from work and have just had a rough day. There was this overwhelming sense of like, this is my mothership. These are my people. We have a shared experience that only one another can understand. And I think that if you don't take advantage of that and see that for the benefit it can be, then you're really missing out. So I encourage you to, you know, as it feels more and more natural with your certification, to make those connections because you're going to meet some really, really amazing women. So here is the WeBank seal. So whether you have a one-dimensional business, maybe this will be on your digital storefront or on business cards, you will use the WeBe seal that will show your status as a certified WeBank. This is best for B2B collateral. And then on the other side of the screen, we have the women-owned logo. And so this logo is used for consumer-facing materials. So maybe if you have an item that's going to be on the shelf at a Target or Costco, you'll see this label. Now that you know the logo and the label, you're going to notice it a lot of places when you're shopping. And so obviously, you know, I love to see this seal on things. I definitely grab them off the shelf when I see them. There's some towels at Costco right now that are women owned. I'm like so proud of that supplier. I always grab those towels. So be on the lookout for our women owned logo so we can support one another. And definitely these logos come in black and white, inverse images, colored images, different resolutions. So whatever you need or your digital team needs, these can all be downloaded in WeBank Link 2.0. So download the whole zip file, save it to, you know, your documents, and you'll always have what you need depending on the use. I would say definitely get this on your business cards. That's something that you'll want to have as you attend events. And in the signature of your email, and definitely on the homepage of your website would be great places to have your certified WeBank seal shown. So prospecting to the WeBank community. We've referenced WeBank Link 2.0 several times. I can't say what an exceptional tool it is enough. The tool itself, I'll be honest, it looks a little archaic when you're in there. All of us have been in there to do our certification and we'll go in there to do our recertification, but don't let that trick you to how much information is in the tool. There is also a link on WeBank Link 2.0 that navigates you to training or help. If you navigate through to that, there is a monthly training that WeBank Nationals does just on how to use WeBank 2.0. I would encourage you to take that training just to understand how much it has to offer and how you can query the system from a back-end database standpoint. And it'll also teach you how corporates query the system. So understanding that might change how you have your profile set up or what you want to change at recertification time. So I can't encourage you enough. I think that's once a month. It usually always fills up. That is a great way to really understand how to mine the database and make sure your information looks exactly how you want it to look when supplier diversity professionals may be looking you up. So how can you prospect to the WBENC community? I think there's definitely some do's and don'ts here. Certainly to download corporate contacts and WBENC Link 2.0, you should do that in any area where you have an interest in doing business. You should check RPO websites, and I would encourage you to sign up for individual RPO website newsletters because they'll have a weekly or monthly newsletter then that will come to your inbox so you can really have up-to-date information. You can build your prospecting list by, checking the website often for different programs or events that are happening at different levels. They do have an inclusive calendar on WBENC Link and WBENC Corporate's website that shows what's happening in all the RPOs. So there's always something happening. So that's a great place to kind of see everything at once. What I will say that you can also do is identify which companies have tier 2 programs. That's really, let's say you're not making headway in a tier 1 relationship with Pfizer or Ford, but you want to enter as a tier 2 supplier. How can you understand who has a tier 2 program? Maybe Magna Seats has a tier 2 program because they sell their automotive seats to Ford. So how can I get into their supply chain? A lot of tier 2 suppliers are part of the WBENC network. I will say my advice on what not to do with the information in the WBENC Link system is to send mass emails. That just looks horrible. I've received those a few times over the year, and I think they're reprimanded strongly by WBENC at a national level. You'll also see Weebies who will send a mass email to other Weebies. And that is also a big no-no from WBENC Corporate. Like, we shouldn't be using that information to message to the masses. Obviously, you're going to have a much better response if you have a targeted contact that you really want to reach out to for something and making it personal. That's going to be a much better way to get them to respond. I will say this is a call out that's not on the slide, but some groups do have LinkedIn communities. So I know that there are some LinkedIn communities for Weebies that I'm part of. So I would look on LinkedIn, search WBENC, and see if there's little community groups that you want to join, whether they're in your industry or generally within WBENC, that you could be part of. And they might celebrate things that you wouldn't see coming from WBENC at a corporate level. So prospecting in the community, do your homework. Right? What is the commitment that you want to make to be able to make sure that you're doing your homework sufficiently? A lot of times there's an earmarked supplier diversity team. Some of these programs and our corporates are so engaged. Like Procter & Gamble is in our region. We're so blessed to have them in our region. They were one of the first to supplier diversity. So they understand what they're doing. They have really set the stage for how supplier diversity works well for other corporations, not only in their industry, but really any industry. So you can go out and learn about supplier diversity. You can learn about how many people are on their team. They're going to have a built-out team for categories in supplier diversity at Procter & Gamble. That's going to be their sole dedicated focus. But then you might be working with a different company, and they might not be as established in their supplier diversity journey, where that person who is the supplier diversity professional actually wears another hat, where they may be in marketing, or they may also be a buyer, which is wonderful because they'll have more insight into buying that way. So they could play a dual role. So you want to understand and do your homework. They may or may not spend 100% of their time on supplier diversity, even if they're the contact listed in WBENC 2.0. These are some great asking questions to the supplier diversity professional. I mean, I think this is really tough, right? Especially in, we're going to have over the journey of 20 years in business, as many of you are, and in those years with your certification, you're going to have changes in DC that are going to change the environment for women-owned businesses. You've just got to be aware of that, but it's not going to change. You've got to keep doing what you're doing and be able to ask the right questions that matter at the right time to supplier diversity professionals. So I would say this is a great question asking about how is it centralized or decentralized? How do you make decisions? Who's the buyer in my commodity or category? Asking kind of where your spend falls sounds like something so small, but understanding that is everything. So for me in staffing, understanding if staffing is purchased from human resources or if staffing is purchased from procurement contracts, those are two different people then that I know I'm going to be on an avenue or a road with. So really important to understand who your buyer is. And then just, what is the appetite? I always ask this, like, what is the appetite for adding a new diverse supplier? And that's an open-ended question. It's easy to ask, and they'll usually be really honest with you. Like, Gabby, we just went through a consolidation. Like, there's no way you're getting in right now, which is awful to hear. But how do you hear that and then say, like, when is it going to be reviewed again? But what about this other category that I could also sell into? Or what information can I get to the person that matters? Or what are the tier 2 opportunities so I can kind of come up through the ranks and ultimately prove myself that I'd be able to do business with you? So asking kind of what is the temperature, or, how open are you to adding a diverse supplier in my category right now is a great open-ended question that you can't answer yes or no to. My advice would be never to ask a supplier diversity professional a question that they can answer yes or no to, because they will, and it'll be really hard to keep a conversation going after that. So I've made that mistake so you don't have to. So when you're certified through WBENC, it's wonderful that WBENC now has this reciprocity to certify you as an SBOWOSB, a women-owned small business. This is an easy step when you're going through your certification or recertification. It's a really important step to take to select to have multiple certifications. So this will actually designate you as an SBE when you're filling out applications or questionnaires, and a WBE. So if you didn't opt into the WOSB certification the first time you certified, that's okay. I went a few years before adding the second certification on. There's maybe a few tidbits of information that you need to also supply to your WBENC recertification or initial certification to get the WOSB cert, but I would encourage you to do that. It's basically registering on the sam.gov website and pulling down what will be like your unique number or identifier so they can associate your two profiles together. When you get your WBENC cert, you'll get that beautiful downloaded cert that you'll save on your desktop because you're just sharing it with everyone all year. And then you'll also get your WOSB cert in the WBENC link portal at the same time. So those are two different certs that you'll get the value of recertification, doing it once and coming out with both a small business cert, if that's relevant to your category, and then your WBENC certification. So how do you engage with WBENC? I think this is oftentimes for new EBs the hardest part to figure out. And this is where I really like the crawl, walk, run strategy. Like for me, we used to hold luncheons in the community. So we had like a Cleveland luncheon, and that was about 12 women. Whoever could attend monthly would attend. This is way back when in like 2008, 2009. I think that was a great way for me to get involved at the time because I couldn't commit anything more, but I started to meet people locally. And then that grew into a regional presence within ORV. And then that grew into a national presence. So oftentimes WBs will like start and they're just going to go right to nationals, and they may do great there and, be ready for that. But nationals can be intimidating. I would say definitely if you are going to go all in and go to nationals, go the first year. I went the first year, I just want to learn. I just want to observe and take it all in so I can come back my second year and understand like what is going to be my goal. And if I introduce myself to some corporates, introduce myself to some WBs, learn at these incredible breakout sessions, then that's what a win is going to look like for me. But the WBENC National Conference is attended by more than 4,500 WBs and corporates. So it can be overwhelming as a first-time attendee. ORV does a great job of matching you up with someone who's attended before. So I had a buddy I had Icy Williams was my buddy. She was in supplier diversity at Procter & Gamble. So that was like very lucky for me to have her as a buddy. But ORV will pair you up with a buddy if you're a first time attendee, which I think is so nice that our RPO does that because she met with me before I attended. She helped me know what to expect to set me up for success. And then WBENC Forum. So Forum is open to all certified Weebies. So just by having your certification, you are part of Forum. So welcome to Forum. Forum has its own leadership of women-owned businesses. ORV is represented in this leadership team very well. It's a great way to be in an environment outside of the corporate presence. So Forum is just for Weebies. It's like what happens in the room stays in the room. And there's a lot of learning opportunities for us in Forum. There's different areas of focus for Forum as well that you can hone into. If you're looking to break into government, there's a breakout session for that. If you're looking to do international, there's a breakout session for that. So I would encourage you, if you'd like more interest, are you interested in Forum or joining those meetings? Please feel free to look that up or reach out to me. I'm a Forum member and representative for Ohio River Valley, so I'm happy to share that information with you directly. So I think the best way to get involved is to be involved with your RPO because it's going to make everything feel like you have a home base. ORV really is home base. I call the Catch the Wave conference a family reunion because that's what it feels like. Like after all these years, you're seeing the familiar faces. These are kind of, the faces that when you go to a nationals, you see, and it's like, oh my goodness, right? There's like bonding in that when you see each other out of 4,000 people and the folks that are from your region. So the best way to do that is to come to Catch the Wave. This year it will be in Louisville. It is just amazing. The programming at Catch the Wave, the energy that you get from stepping away from your business and really kind of boarding the mothership with your people for a few days. I can't say enough great things. There's also an opportunity if you are new to pitch at a pitch breakfast, and now you're in front of all the corporates and they all just heard your pitch. So a lot of amazing opportunities that are available to you just by attending the Catch the Wave conference. I would mark your calendar like that. For me, this is an event I do not miss. So I've attended, I think every year Catch the Wave has been going on and it's been exceptional every time. Sponsorships are available. Thank you, Dr. K. So take a look at that because sometimes it's not that much of a difference between the price of your ticket anyway and sponsoring and getting that visibility for your brand. So definitely take a look at that. It does make sense. They've closed the gap on like, what does it look like if I have 2 or 3 people from my company attending? And that price is pretty close to what it looks like to sponsor and have 3 tickets included in that. So please take a look at the sponsorship packages. There are some signature events in the Ohio River Valley region. Catch the Wave is the big call out. Women of Color, Bold and Brilliant is another signature event for our region. And then the Women of Distinction Awards Luncheon and Weeby Roundtable, that is coming up later this spring. So I would encourage everyone to attend if that makes sense. ORV has done a great job with these Weeby Connects. So watch when those are in a region for you. Last month, Hunter hosted one for Cleveland-based Weebies. Gina, you could have come. You're not too far in Canton, but we would have loved to have you. We'll have you next time. It was a great way to connect and kind of meet the people in our region in a smaller setting. And so definitely be on the lookout for those. And then professional development. The signature program is ORV BDP. That is the Ohio River Valley Region Business Development Program. I participated in class 3 of BDP, and that was with ORV in partnership with Procter & Gamble. We became part of Procter's supply chain as a result of our participation there. So I can't speak to some of these professional development opportunities enough as a chance just really to get to know our corporates, but also for the ORV team to get to know you. You're going to have all this one-on-one time with the ORV team by way of that. They're going to understand your business, you as a business leader more, and they're talking to corporates all day, every day. Like, believe me, if there's a way they can get your name in, they do. So we're all in this together.
This is the last slide, Gabby. If you want to open it up for some Q&A before I kind of do my my kind of wrap up type slides.
Yes. Yeah, of course. So let's open it up for questions and then we'll go over some items from Dr. K.
I have a question, if I
Sure.
may. It's Gina. So I've seen things about the pitch contest or something like that. What is that sponsored through your RPO? Is that a national thing? How do you get involved in that?
That's a great
Yes.
question. Yes. So WeBank is pitch happy, and they're pitch happy for a reason because you have to be ready with a pitch when you meet a corporate. Like they want to hear that all the time. They literally will ask you for it in an elevator. So you have to be able to pitch your business. And I think WeBank has done a really good job of kind of upping all of our skills there. So you'll see if you register at a national level, there's a nationally sponsored pitch competition each year as part of the WeBank National Conference. And then we have our own pitch competition in ORV at Catch the Wave, where our winner then automatically goes on to advance in the national pitch competition as well. Dr. K, keep me honest. Did I get that?
Yeah, so yep, you're spot on point. So in order to be able to get on at the national level, you have to come through the RPO level. So if they continue the way they did it last year, I want to say it's our top three, actually it's three or four, go on to nationals to pitch in the semifinals. You can't get into the national semifinals unless you've pitched at the regional level. Each region does it differently. Some just have a pitch competition and that is it. We fold our pitch competition into our into Catch the Wave for one of two for a couple of reasons. One, because it's a lot easier and a lot harder to pitch in front of a room of people instead of just recording your pitch on your screen, right? Like you
Right.
interact and you engage a little differently when you actually see people in the room. I always tell people that I always recommend for people to apply. So we'll do a call for pitch prior to Catch the Wave because not everybody that wants to pitch obviously will pitch at Catch the Wave because then we'll be there all day long if we had 300 people pitching. So we'll do a call for pitch where you will submit a video, those will be reviewed, and then we'll select 8 people who submit to that call to actually pitch at Catch the Wave. And then from Catch the Wave, those four that have the highest scores at Catch the Wave get to move on to semifinals. Nationals has a semifinals level as well as the national level, or as well as their finalist level, excuse me. But the one reason why I tell everyone to apply is because even if you don't make it to the semifinals, right? When else would you have a chance to pitch your business in front of a room of 300 people? And
Right.
even though everyone in that room may not be looking for the service that you offer, but they may know somebody that does. And oh, you know what? In a conversation 3 weeks later, there was this lady that pitched that I can't even remember, but let me reach out to ORV and find out who that person is. When I
Mhm.
tell you, I watched the final pitch or the semifinals for nationals, and it takes place in like November. And a few of my Christmas gifts came because of outside of our RPO, but people I was like, oh, that'd be a really great gift. Let me write that down, or let me go to her website really quickly, or let me, and as Gabby was talking about making sure that your websites are up and accurate and things, there was one that I wanted to get for a couple of my friends, and I could not find her online. She has an actual product. I looked on social media. I Googled it. The website was down. And so she lost out on potential sales because we
Right.
couldn't find her. But that's long answer. But yes, we absolutely love the opportunity to have our WBEs pitch any opportunity they have.
So just a quick follow-up question. So I'm also doing the executive education right now. So I just heard Christine Medella from Storyville Road did our session last week, and that's what got me thinking. Oh, okay. So are there any educational opportunities or to learn how to perfect your pitch or and I'm just thinking of the timing. So I am planning to go to nationals this year, be one of those brave souls to go. And I am planning to do Catch the Wave, but nationals is before Catch the Wave.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to like time this out in my head. Like, what's the order of things,
How does that
how
work?
to learn and set myself up to be successful in both, if possible.
Yes.
So nationals does not have a pitch competition at nationals. Nationals pitch competition is not tied to the conference itself. So that's why it doesn't matter that it's backwards. So we will for this year, nationals has a whole slew of pitch pitch sessions where you can learn how to perfect your pitch and things like that. And so as an organization, we'll be pushing out those that they're doing. We won't offer any ourselves. So you'll see in our newsletters and you'll see on the national website and things like that, all the different pitch training sessions that they have. And so those are the things that you'll attend to help fine tune your pitches and things of that nature. And so, like I said, national semifinals takes place in November, which
Okay.
obviously is after Catch the Wave. So that's why that
I
timing doesn't really matter in terms of attending the national conference.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, ladies. I really appreciate clarifying that.
And there'll be need to know sessions too before nationals that are just awesome to hop on. Like they'll tell you what to wear, what to have with you. I think whether you're doing a pitch competition or not, have your pitch ready, because when you sit down at a table, even some of the meet the buyer events, it's like the 2 buyers and maybe 6 weebies, and they'll be like, okay, let's start here, and everyone just go around and give me your pitch. So it's just good whether you're going to be in a pitch competition or not to have your 30-second, your 1 minute and your 2 minute pitch just always ready to go. So
Perfect. Thank you so much.
yeah.
Any other questions?
Yes. Hi, I have a question. Gabrielle, first of all, thank you. Your information that you have shared and your journey was fantastic, very, very inspiring. You mentioned about registering on all the RPOs, right? So I'm based in New Jersey. So will it be helpful for me to register everywhere? And how do I have not even used the WBENC link to get the corporate information of all the supplier diversity professionals.
Oh, okay.
So,
I think it's important for you to understand, like, do you sell nationally? So if someone
yes.
wanted to buy from you in Ohio,
Yeah.
and you know where your targets are headquartered, like who the
Yes.
strongest targets are, then I would register for any RPO where your strongest, your like top 20 list of targets are headquartered. Because if they're headquartered in that state, then you're going to want to be registered in that RPO, because what will happen is inevitably, like, they'll be speaking or they'll do a session on how to do business with, Pfizer's not a good example because they're headquartered near you, but let's say, BMW is a target. I think they're headquartered in Georgia, their US headquarters. So if you wanted to do business with them, you'd have to register, and you're going to get the most information. They're going to be around the most wherever their home RPO is.
Okay.
For us, that's Procter, Eaton, Cleveland Clinic. Like, these are the people that are really involved in RPO because they're headquartered here, but they may do business everywhere, right? So Cleveland Clinic has hospitals in Florida, but their home base is going to be our region.
Oh, fantastic. Yes. So I think Dr. Lowe sent the link to register on all the RPOs, and I'm going to go over it, but that was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Sure, of course.
Julie, any questions from you? Don't feel any pressure. I'm just kind of going down the line.
No, I appreciate it. I did have a question. We have not registered yet for the national event, but we're planning on going. And Gabrielle mentioned the buddy situation. Now, once we register at the national level, does ORV like get notification and then you guys assign us a buddy? How does that work?
So I actually wrote that down when Gabby mentioned it, because I know we do buddies for Catch the Wave, which is our regional conference, but we had not done buddies since I've been here over the past couple of years for the national conference. I know that our president and CEO will receive a list of everyone that has registered for the conference that is within our RPO. I do not believe that it flags whether you're a new person or not or anything like that. What I will probably say, I'm going to take this away to have some conversation internally to see if there's anything that we get that will tell us those types of information. What I would suggest, though, is maybe a little bit closer to the conference. So I'd probably say maybe like the latter part of May or something along those lines. Shoot me an email. And just remind me, like, hey, I'm going to be, fairly new WBE. It's my first time at nationals. Is there anybody that you all can connect me with? It may be a little bit more organic opposed to the formal bunny system like we do for Catch the Wave.
Yeah, I really appreciate knowing that. I think it's a wonderful idea for newcomers. Also, I'd love to revisit the question I brought up earlier. we have been approached by a consultant who wants to, do a 3-month retainer and meet us at the national conference and make introductions and help us prep for specific introductions. And I'm curious to know if anybody has taken that route, hiring a third party for that kind of.
Yeah, it's interesting. I get emails a lot about that for like government contracts. I've never seen or heard about that for like navigating around WBENC or the WBENC National Conference. I don't think it's necessary to pay for that. Like you paid for your WBENC cert. WBENC and ORV, they do such a good job preparing us to be successful. Like we all have the same shared goal. So I would probably hold off on that and go through having all the resources you're going to have available to you through the network, through reaching out to your forum members, emailing me and asking me for advice, whatever is already built into your network first before I'd go out and actually, spend or sign a retainer on something. Because I think that what resonates the most is that you're authentically who you are to corporates, that you're visible, that you can speak to your business. And the last piece that's really hard because you cannot fake it, that you're capable. Like I remember when I first started, everyone's first question was, did I have a brick and mortar? And I didn't have a brick and mortar. So, I had to answer it honestly. But I remember feeling like, oh, if I ever get a brick and mortar, I'm opening it to all Weebies. So no one ever has to experience that. So I always tell everyone, like, here's my brick and mortar. Bring whoever here, because it's like, that was so frustrating because they just were trying to like figure out that it wasn't ready yet. And I just remember being so frustrated. Like, is that really it? My brick and mortar, right? So it's being genuine and being who you are. Ultimately, like they want to believe in your story and what you're doing for your community and how you run your business and operate. They're going to get to know that through the first intro with you. They're going to get to know that even more in your follow-up and building a relationship with you. At the end of the day, like it's going to be between you and that supplier diversity professional and ultimately the buyer that you'll work with. That consultant's going to yourself and your business better than anyone else. And I think, Dr. K, hopefully I answered that the right way, but you're who they want to meet.
I would agree. Sure. I would definitely agree with that. I think this will be my 4th year going to nationals. And obviously my framework is a little bit differently than all of you being business owners. However, the authentic relationships and the opportunity to spend a couple of days, spend actually almost a week with some of the same people each and every day, that's when those relationships are built, right? And so outside of like the matchmaker where everybody knows that the whole intent is I'm sitting at this table so that way hopefully I walk away with you wanting me to fulfill this need that you have. I think the true relationships are built when you're just sitting there chit-chatting with somebody at lunch. And a consultant can't do that for you. Like they can advocate for you, but they're still gonna have to go find you and bring you over to the table. And then you're going, oh, you didn't have that organic conversation. And so we will have we typically have like an RPO meetup or something along those lines where we have like both our WBEs as well as our corporates who are domiciled in our within our RPO, an opportunity for them to get together and do something fun and engaging, those types of things. Cause it's like, that's where people get to know who you are, even outside of what you do, right? That's where everybody, corporates and WBs, kind of let their hair down a little bit to do whatever that fun thing is that we're doing. And I'll be honest, we always have folks from outside of our RPO who always want to come to our RPO meetups. You may
because we are so cool,
right? We're the best RPO out there. We always have party crashes. Everything we do, we have party crashes. I would say, with this being your first conference, I would suggest do it yourself or you and your team, whoever it is that's coming. And then once you've seen what WBENC Nationals looks like, and you'll have kind of a year, as you're planning for next year and things like that, then I think you'll be able to better identify, do I need a consultant? And if so, what specifically do I need you to do for me? Instead of the consultant telling you what they can do for you. Because right now you don't even really know what you want them to do for you because you haven't been there yet. So I would do it first by yourself and then make that decision later.
I really appreciate this, you guys. It's really helpful. And Gabrielle, I really love the fact that you offered up your brick and mortar to people. That's really wonderful. We used to have brick and mortar before COVID, and then we decided not to re-sign the lease. And this is a concern of mine because 11 of us are working remotely now. And we do have like a co-working space where we take meetings and things like that. But if someone were to look it up, it looks so transient. So this has been weighing on me. But then also I love your persistent calling on Tuesdays to get to that one contact. That's amazing. We have a supplier rep in our industry. His name is Rashad, and he sells mouse pads. And Rashad calls on the same day every month. We never answer the phone, but we always know that he's going to call. And when we need mouse pads, we're going to buy it from him. But what's awesome is that when I talk to my sales rep, I'm always saying, be like Rashad. But it didn't occur to me to be like Rashad to this, new buyer network that I'm now a part of. So I appreciate that reminder. That was really great.
Sure.
Hey, Julie, real quick.
Yeah.
I, as I said, my first year going to national conference, and I just registered last week. And I will say I got a follow-up email right after we registered that there's a Zoom in the middle of May, I believe. It's like an hour, and it's solely about your strategy going into conference and what to expect and how to prepare. And so I signed up for that as well because I feel like it's going to be kind of overwhelming. So hopefully that Zoom will kind of give me a way to better focus on how I want to spend my time there. So I don't know if that's helpful or not.
Very helpful. Thank you. I'll look for that. This was awesome, guys.
Yeah, I was just saying, I was like,
yeah,
this was so
truly. Thank you so much. I have to jump off, you guys, because I have a session in 2 minutes, but thank you so much, Gabby. I would love to connect with you. I'll reach out.
Yes, I just put my email in the chat. Please do.
Okay, thank you. It was so nice meeting all of you. I hope to see you again soon.
You too.
Thank you. And so just as we wrap up, because I know we're almost out of time here, 2 quick things I'm going to do. If you have time and are not watching this from your phone, let me share my screen. If you can fill out this brief survey for us and provide us some feedback on the session, because we always like to make tweaks and changes to make things better. If you are not able to do this right now, that's not a problem. You will receive both a link to the recording, as well as you will receive a copy of the deck that was shared today, and the survey will be in there as well. So you'll have another opportunity to be able to fill out that survey at a later time if you need to do as well. Yes, you can definitely email some questions. That is not a problem at all. Not a problem at all. And then finally, I will say in that recap email, you will also see a link to our calendar as well as all of our upcoming events. So please plan to join us at our upcoming events. Dipti, I didn't realize that you were all the way in New Jersey. I was thinking you were up the street and around the corner.
No.
But we love having you join us. And of course, anything that we do virtually, anything we do in person, we'd love to have you join us there as well. And if you happen to be coming to nationals, definitely, let us know, because, we've been getting to know each other even more and more.
Absolutely. I think I may have missed meeting you because I did go for the national at the Denver conference in 2024.
I was there.
You were there, right? So
yes.
Yeah, it was very overwhelming at the first time, and there's so many things that you learn. You meet so many amazing women over there, but I need to still learn, as Jenna mentioned, that when you register for the upcoming conference, you can join that webinar where they all discuss all the strategies and what to do and where to go.
Yes. Yeah. They have a lot of like the know before you go type calls and things like that. And I think you can never get too much of that information. And then also, Dipti, if you're not already connected with your local RPO, definitely get connected with them as well, because they'll have webinars as well, typically in as they're moving towards nationals. I know we do here. I'm going to assume that they do as well, because then it's a chance for you to get to know some of the ladies within your RPO as well. And so that you don't feel like you're all by yourself as you're going through nationals and things like that. Yes, Michelle, this session was recorded, and we'll send an email. You'll get an email probably by like the beginning of next week at the very latest, I think, with a link to the recording. So you'll have that too.
Great. Thank you so much, ladies. It was
You're so welcome. Thank you all for joining. You all have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you all. That was wonderful.